The dusty red surface of Mars rippled under the gusts of the thin atmosphere, a backdrop to the harsh metallic clangs echoing from the human outpost. Captain Eli Sanders monitored the extraction of ore, his focus split between the operation and the crew's safety. The mining rig, a robust framework of steel and hydraulics, groaned under its fruitful burden. "Looks like we hit the mother lode today, eh, Captain?" remarked Lieutenant Haruto, peering over the digital readout on his tablet. Eli nodded, a thin smile cracking his stern demeanor. "Keep the pace, Haruto. We need to meet the quarters quota, and we're not the only ones counting on this haul." As the workers and machines continued their orchestrated dance, a shadow fell across the Martian plain. The crew looked up, shielding their eyes against the sun, to see a massive silhouette descending towards them. It was unlike any spacecraft human engineers had crafted, a sleek, dark monolith that glided silently, settling on the Martian soil with an unsettling grace. "Alert the base! Unknown contact! Prepare for—" Eli's order was cut short as the ship's hull shimmered and a delegation of towering figures emerged. The aliens, known as Kryloxians from intercepted transmissions, approached with an air of superiority. Eli stepped forward, his hand resting on the pistol at his belt, a precaution. "I'm Captain Eli Sanders of the Earth Coalition Forces. You're on a human-operated base. State your purpose here." The lead Kryloxian, a broad-shouldered entity with skin that shimmered like mica, tilted his head. His voice boomed, amplified by some unseen technology. "I am Commander Vrax. We observed your activities from orbit, primitive, amusing even. We expected more from a species that has managed interstellar travel." Haruto bristled beside Eli. "Our operations here are none of your concern. You're advised to leave immediately." Vrax laughed, a sound that grated on Eli's nerves. "Primitive and bold. We see your tools, your toys." He gestured dismissively at the mining equipment. "We have no interest in conflict now, but do not presume you hold any power here." Eli felt the crew's tension rise. "These toys can defend themselves. We don't want trouble, but we won't run from it either." "Is that a threat, human?" Vrax stepped closer, his height towering over Eli. "It's a promise. We're not here to make enemies, but we will protect our own," Eli responded, standing his ground. The standoff lasted a moment longer before Vrax stepped back, laughing again. "Very well, Captain. We will depart, but this is not the end. Consider this a courtesy call." As the Kryloxians retreated to their ship and it lifted off, leaving no trace but swirling dust, Eli turned to his crew. "Stay sharp. This might just be the beginning. Haruto, log the encounter and signal Earth Command. We may need backup." Haruto nodded, tapping quickly on his tablet. "On it, Captain. I don't think they're done with us." Eli watched the alien ship disappear into the sky, a knot of worry tightening in his gut. He knew that the first contact was rarely the last, and the Kryloxians hadn't come just to mock their efforts. They'd be back, and Earth needed to be ready. "Let's double the patrols and keep communications open with all teams. We're not alone out here anymore," he instructed, turning back to the mining operation with a renewed sense of vigilance. The tension at the mining base was palpable in the days following the Kryloxian visit. Captain Eli Sanders ramped up security protocols, doubling the patrols and implementing stringent checks on all outgoing communications. The miners, although uneasy, found solace in the heightened security presence. "Never thought I'd be glad to see extra guards on my shift," muttered a seasoned miner, Derek, as he and Eli surveyed the newly installed defense turrets around the perimeter. Eli, checking the calibration on one of the turrets, nodded. "We're not taking any chances. If those Kryloxians come back, they'll meet more than just stiff words." Lieutenant Haruto joined them, carrying an updated report on the base's armament enhancements. "We've integrated the new plasma shields with the perimeter defenses. Any unauthorized entry will get a warm welcome they won't soon forget." Derek chuckled dryly. "Plasma shields and pulse turrets. Sounds like something out of an old sci-fi movie." "It might as well be," Haruto responded, flipping through the digital readout on his tablet. "But this sci-fi is our best bet at keeping everyone safe. We're up against something entirely unknown." The calm didn't last long. Within a week, a scout drone buzzed an alert. The Kryloxian ship was back, and it wasn't alone. This time they approached with 3 ships, each one bristling with what unmistakably looked like weaponry. "Looks like they weren't too impressed with our diplomatic skills," Eli muttered, watching the incoming blips on the radar screen. The Kryloxians didn't bother with pleasantries. As soon as they were within range, they launched a series of what appeared to be test shots, energy pulses that slammed into the newly erected plasma shields, causing them to shimmer violently under the impact. "Shields holding at 70%, announced Haruto, his eyes glued to the monitoring systems. "But we can't take many more hits like that." Eli grabbed the communications headset. "All units, this is not a drill. Prepare for defensive maneuvers. Aim for non-lethal takedowns. We need to show them we can defend ourselves without escalating this further." The mining crew, many of whom had military training, manned their stations with grim determination. As the Kraloxians advanced, the human technology that they had mocked proved its worth. The turrets, guided by precise targeting systems, responded to the alien aggression with a barrage of pulse fire. One Kraloxian ship took significant damage, its armor scorched and smoldering from the turret's hits. It wobbled in its flight path, forced to pull back. The others, seeing their companion falter, hesitated. Eli seized the moment. "Haruto, signal them. Let's see if they're ready to talk now." Haruto sent out a hailing frequency, and after a tense pause, the Kryloxian commander, Vrax, responded. His image flickered onto their screen, his expression one of begrudging respect. "You defend your toys well, humans," Vrax growled, his voice grudgingly admiring. "These aren't toys, Vrax. This is our home, our people. We won't let you push us around," Eli shot back, standing firm before the screen. Vrax's eyes narrowed, but a flicker of uncertainty crossed his features. "This changes things. We will withdraw, for now. But this isn't over, human." As the Kryloxian ships retreated into the Martian sky, Eli let out a long breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. He turned to Haruto and Derek, a wry smile forming. "We held our ground today. Let's make sure we can do it again. It's clear now. They're reassessing us. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." The temporary victory at the mining base on Mars infused the human crew with a newfound confidence, but Captain Eli Sanders knew better than to let his guard down. The retreat of the Kryloxian ships wasn't a surrender, it was a strategic withdrawal. Eli spent the next few days bolstering the base's defenses and expanding their weaponry capabilities. Across the vast emptiness of space, the Kryloxians regrouped. Eli, monitoring intercepted communications with the help of the base's tech team, listened to the increasing chatter among the alien ships. It was evident they were planning a more formidable return. "Lieutenant Haruto, how are the new drone scouts coming along?" Eli asked, peering over the layout of enhanced defense systems on the digital display. "They're ready to deploy," Haruto confirmed, tapping commands on his tablet. "These drones have better stealth capabilities and can provide real-time data from a safe distance. We'll see them coming this time." Eli nodded. "Deploy them along the expected approach vectors. I want eyes on them the moment they cross into Martian space." As the drones fanned out into the cold, dark Martian orbit, tension on the base climbed. Everyone knew the Kryloxians were coming back. It was just a question of when and in what force. 2 days later, the drone scouts relayed their first sighting. A fleet of Kryloxian ships, larger than any they had encountered before, was advancing towards Mars. The ships were sleek and menacing, their intentions clear. "Looks like they're not taking any chances," observed Sergeant Chloe Martinez, the base's head of tactical operations, as she reviewed the drone footage. "We count at least 10 ships, all heavily armed." Eli's jaw tightened. "Prepare all hands for combat. Initiate Protocol Defender. I want every turret and shield at maximum readiness, and get me a line to Earth Command. They need to know what's heading our way." The base sprung into action, every member of the crew moving with urgency. As the Kryloxian fleet drew closer, a stark message was broadcasted across all channels, the voice of Commander Vrax chillingly clear. "Humans, your defiance is noted. Surrender your base, or we will take it by force." Eli responded with equal clarity. "We will defend our ground, stand down, or face the consequences." The first salvo from the Kryloxian fleet struck just as the base's shields powered to full strength. The impact rattled the station, but the shields held firm, diffusing the energy across their shimmering surface. "Shields at 85% and holding," reported Haruto, his fingers dancing across the control panel. "Returning fire." The base's turrets unleashed a barrage of advanced pulse fire, striking several of the Kryloxian ships and causing visible damage to their hulls. The Kryloxians, surprised by the strength of the human resistance, maneuvered for position, firing energy beams that sliced through the Martian atmosphere. Eli watched the battle unfold, directing his forces with calm precision. Focus fire on their lead ship. If we can take out their commander, it might break their resolve. Under Eli's command, the base targeted the flagship of the Kryloxian fleet. A direct hit sent sparks cascading across its surface, and for a moment, the entire fleet faltered. Push forward, Eli commanded. All units, concentrate fire while they're disorganized. As the battle raged, the outcome uncertain, Eli remained steadfast, his mind racing through tactics and contingencies. The fate of the base, and possibly humanity's future on Mars, hung in the balance as both sides vied for the upper hand in the intensifying conflict. The skirmish on Mars had proven Earth's resolve and technological capability to the Kryloxians. While the immediate threat was repelled, Captain Eli Sanders knew it was only a matter of time before Earth faced a more significant assault. The Kryloxians had underestimated human ingenuity once. They would not make the same mistake again. Back on Earth, global defense leaders convened an emergency session, and Eli was summoned to present his report and participate in strategic planning. The conference room at the United Earth Defense Coalition headquarters buzzed with activity as representatives from various nations shared intelligence and resources in a rare show of global unity. Eli, your actions on Mars have given us valuable insight into the Kryloxian capabilities, General Martinez, the coalition's commander, stated approvingly. We need to capitalize on this momentum. Eli nodded, his expression grave. We've seen that they adapt quickly. Our next steps should not only match but exceed their pace. The meeting evolved into a tactical session, with Eli contributing insights from his first-hand encounters. It was decided that Earth would accelerate its military buildup, focusing on spaceborne defenses and developing countermeasures against Kryloxian technology. After the session, Eli was tasked with overseeing a special operations unit composed of elite soldiers from around the world. This unit would spearhead Earth's preemptive defense measures and potentially carry out offensive operations against Kryloxian targets. The next few weeks were a blur of preparation and training. Eli's unit, dubbed Strike Force Titan, underwent rigorous exercises, simulating various combat scenarios against Kryloxian forces. They trained in zero-gravity environments, piloted next-generation fighters, and mastered weaponry enhanced by the latest Earth technology. Remember, speed and agility are key, Eli instructed his team during a debrief. We can't outgun them ship for ship, but we can outmaneuver and outsmart them. Lieutenant Mira Singh, a tactical pilot and one of Eli's top officers, nodded in agreement. The simulations showed that hit-and-run tactics could be effective against their heavier ships. Eli and his team also worked closely with Earth's top scientists to develop new weapons. One of the promising developments was a magnetic pulse cannon, capable of disrupting Kryloxian shield technology. The prototype was installed on their lead ship, ready for field testing. As the preparations drew to a close, the mood among the team was a mix of determination and apprehension. The reality of what they were about to face was daunting, but the unity and resolve of Eli's team provided a strong foundation. We're not just fighting for Earth, Eli told his team during their final briefing. We're fighting for the right to exist peacefully in this galaxy. Let's make sure the Kryloxians understand that. With their ships primed and their strategies set, Strike Force Titan was ready. As Earth's first line of defense, they were not just defenders but the spearhead of humanity's response to the Kryloxian threat. Eli looked over his crew, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. They were ready as they could be for the coming storm. The anticipation was palpable among the members of Strike Force Titan as they launched from Earth's newly fortified space stations. Captain Eli Sanders monitored the progress from the command center of their lead ship, his eyes darting between the radar and the vast expanse of space outside. Lieutenant Mira Singh was at his side, piloting the craft with a calm focus that belied the tension of the situation. "Contacts coming into range," Mira announced, her voice steady over the ship's communication system. "Counting 12 Kryloxian ships, possibly more in the rear echelon." Eli tightened his grip on the console. "All units, prepare for engagement. Remember, use the magnetic pulse cannons first. We need to disrupt their shields." As the alien fleet loomed closer, the human forces braced for the first strike. The silence was shattered by the deep thrum of the pulse cannons firing. Bursts of electromagnetic energy surged through space, colliding with the Kryloxian shields and causing several to flicker and fail. "Direct hit on the enemy flagship," reported Sergeant Chloe Martinez from Weapons Control. "Their shields are down. Target their engines." Disable, don't destroy. We need them to know we can outfight them as well as outthink them, Eli commanded. The battle escalated quickly as more ships from both sides joined the fray. The Earth's orbital defenses, a network of satellites armed with laser turrets and missile launchers, began to fire, creating a deadly ballet of light and destruction above the planet. Kraloxian fighters, sleek and aggressive, darted through the volleys, their return fire targeting Earth's defensive satellites. Meanwhile, on Earth's surface, anti-spacecraft batteries launched salvos of high-velocity missiles, seeking to exploit any breach in the enemy's faltering defenses. Each successful strike by Earth's forces was met with cheers from the command center, but Eli remained focused on the larger strategy. "We've got them reeling, but keep pressure on," Eli instructed, noting the Kraloxians' attempt to regroup. "Mira, take us closer. Let's give them something to think about." Mira maneuvered their ship deftly through the chaos, positioning them for a critical shot. With a precise burst from their main cannon, they targeted the propulsion system of the Kraloxian command ship. The impact was spectacular, sending the alien vessel spinning out of control. "This is Strike Force Titan to all Earth defense units," Eli broadcasted, his voice echoing through various channels. "The enemy flagship is disabled. Focus fire on the remaining vessels. Let's finish this." As the tide turned, the Kraloxians started to retreat, their formation broken and their resolve seemingly shaken. Eli watched as the once formidable fleet scattered, the realization dawning on him and his crew that they were witnessing a significant victory. With the skies clearing and the last of the Kraloxian ships retreating, the crew of Strike Force Titan took a moment to absorb their success. Eli finally allowed himself a small smile. "Good work, team. Let's secure the area and assess damages. This battle may be over, but the war might still have surprises for us." Mira nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. "Yes, sir. I'll set a course for patrol. We need to ensure no Kraloxian forces are playing possum." As they set about their tasks, the enormity of what they had achieved began to sink in. Earth had not only defended itself, but had also proven its capability to stand against a technologically superior enemy. Yet, even in victory, Eli knew this was just the beginning. They had won the battle, but the struggle for peace and security in the galaxy was far from over. After the resounding victory in the Battle of the Blue Planet, humanity's spirits were high, but Captain Eli Sanders knew that winning a battle did not mean winning the war. The Kraloxians were regrouping, and their next move was uncertain. To gain the upper hand, Eli proposed a daring mission: infiltrate the Kraloxian fleet and gather crucial intelligence about their capabilities, technology, and potential weaknesses. "We need to know what we're really up against," Eli explained to his team during a strategy meeting aboard their lead ship. "If we can understand their tech and find a chink in their armor, we can end this conflict with fewer lives lost." Lieutenant Mira Singh, always ready for a challenge, volunteered for the mission alongside Eli. "Count me in, Captain. It's time we took the fight to them." With a small, elite team, Eli and Mira prepared for the stealth operation. They used a captured Kraloxian scout ship, modified to avoid detection. The plan was risky. Getting caught could mean death, or worse, a fate as prisoners of war. The team launched under the cover of cosmic debris near the asteroid belt, using the natural clutter as camouflage. The journey was tense, with every meter bringing them closer to enemy territory. "Remember, stay silent until we reach the target. We can't afford any slip-ups," Eli reminded his crew as they approached the Kraloxian rendezvous point. The scout ship slipped into the Kraloxian formation undetected, docking on their auxiliary cruiser. The team, dressed in Kraloxian armor salvaged from previous skirmishes, blended in, moving cautiously through the vessel. Mira led the way to the mainframe room, where they planned to download critical data. "Here goes nothing," she whispered, connecting their device to the alien network. As the data transfer began, Eli kept watch. His heart raced, not just from the danger, but from the hope that this information could save countless lives. Suddenly, an alarm blared throughout the cruiser. "We've been made," shouted one of the team members. They had been prepared for this possibility, and Eli didn't hesitate. "Abort the download, grab what we have, and let's move," he commanded. The team disconnected the device, securing the partially downloaded data, and fought their way back to the scout ship. Kraloxian soldiers swarmed, but Eli and his team were prepared. They unleashed a barrage of controlled counterattacks to cover their escape. Mira piloted the scout ship out of the cruiser's hangar, dodging incoming fire as they shot back into space. "Everyone hold on," Mira yelled as she maneuvered through the chaos, the small ship buckling under the strain. They barely managed to clear the enemy fleet's perimeter before jumping to hyperspace, hearts pounding and adrenaline surging through their veins. The risk had been immense, but they had achieved what many thought impossible. Back on their flagship, the data was analyzed. It revealed weaknesses in the Kryloxian shield frequencies and propulsion technologies, information that could turn the tide in humanity's favor. Eli looked over his team, their faces weary but triumphant. This information could change everything. Good work, everyone. Let's prepare to put this intel to use. As they set course back to Earth, Eli felt a mix of relief and resolve. They had survived a mission behind enemy lines, but the war was still far from over. They now held the keys to potentially end the Kryloxian threat. But how they used this newfound advantage would determine the fate of both humanity and their alien adversaries. Armed with the intelligence gathered from the daring mission behind enemy lines, Captain Eli Sanders and his team prepared for what could be the decisive strike against the Kryloxian fleet. The data revealed critical vulnerabilities in the alien technology, particularly in their shield frequencies and propulsion systems. Eli knew that this was their chance to turn the tide of the war permanently. Back at Earth's orbital command, Eli briefed the coalition forces on the new strategy. "We've got one shot at this," he stated, looking over the assembly of Earth's finest military minds. "We strike hard and fast, exploiting the weaknesses we've uncovered. Our goal is to cripple their fleet and force a surrender." The plan was set for a two-pronged attack. The first team, led by Lieutenant Mira Singh, would use specially modified fighters equipped to disrupt the Kryloxian shield frequencies, leaving them exposed. The second team, under Eli's command, would target the propulsion systems of the Kryloxian flagship, aiming to immobilize their command structure. As the fleets positioned themselves, the tension was palpable. The Earth forces were outnumbered, but armed with crucial knowledge that could neutralize the technological advantage of their foes. "This is it," Eli said, clenching his fist as he gave the signal to engage. The battle commenced with a flurry of activity. Mira's squadron darted through the Kryloxian defenses, their fighters emitting a series of high-frequency pulses. The Kryloxian shields flickered and failed, just as the intelligence had indicated. Cheers broke out across the command center as the first wave of Earth's attack ships penetrated the now vulnerable alien fleet. Simultaneously, Eli's team launched a barrage of targeted strikes at the propulsion systems of the Kryloxian flagship. The precision-guided munitions, designed from the data retrieved, hit their mark, causing a series of explosions that crippled the massive ship. Without propulsion, the flagship was a sitting duck, and the moral blow to the Kryloxians was visible even through the cold void of space. "Flagship is immobilized. All units consolidate and prepare for the final push," Eli commanded, his voice booming over the comms. With the Kryloxian flagship disabled and their fleet in disarray, the smaller Kryloxian vessels began to retreat. However, Eli knew that simply winning this battle wasn't enough. He opened a channel to the Kryloxian commander, offering one last chance for peace. "Commander Vrax, your fleet is beaten and your flagship disabled. End this conflict now, and we can avoid further bloodshed," Eli proposed, his tone firm but fair. After a tense pause, Vrax's voice crackled through the communications system. "Human, you have fought well. We accept your terms for surrender. Let us end this conflict." As the terms of surrender were negotiated, relief and jubilation spread throughout Earth's forces. The victory was more than tactical. It was a testament to human ingenuity, bravery, and the relentless pursuit of peace. In the aftermath, Eli watched as the Kryloxian ships powered down their weapons. He turned to his crew, a proud smile spreading across his face. "We did it. We've secured peace for now. Let's make sure we build something lasting from this." The victory was celebrated across Earth, but for Eli and his team, the true reward was the prospect of a future where humanity could continue to thrive and explore the stars, free from the shadow of war. The war had ended, but the victory was bittersweet. As Captain Eli Sanders stood on the bridge of his flagship, he gazed out at the stars, contemplating the immense cost at which peace had been secured. The Kryloxian fleet, now a broken shadow of its former might, lingered near Mars, its ships disabled and commanders negotiating terms of surrender. "Captain, the Kryloxians have agreed to all our terms," Lieutenant Mira Singh reported, her voice carrying a mix of relief and exhaustion. "Their weapon systems are being dismantled as we speak." Eli nodded, his thoughts heavy. "Prepare a team to oversee the process. We need to ensure everything goes smoothly." "Yes, sir," Mira responded, then hesitated. "Sir, what will we do with the prisoners?" "We'll treat them fairly, Mira. They'll be repatriated once the disarmament is verified." Eli said firmly, his belief in justice unshaken even now. It's crucial we set a precedent for how victors should behave. As Earth began to celebrate the newfound peace, Eli found himself grappling with the personal toll the war had taken. Many friends and colleagues had been lost, and the specter of their sacrifices lingered. He walked through the ship, each corridor filled with the echoes of battles fought and lives changed forever. In the mess hall, he stopped to talk with his crew. They shared stories of their fallen comrades, remembering the courage they had shown in the face of a formidable enemy. It wasn't just a recounting of loss, but a celebration of their spirits. We need to document everything, Eli told his communications officer. Every story, every battle. Not just for us, but for future generations. They need to understand what was sacrificed for peace. As reconstruction plans took shape, Eli was invited to Earth's capital to speak about his experiences. Standing before world leaders, he didn't just speak of victory, he spoke of unity, resilience, and the enduring spirit of humanity. We've been given a second chance, Eli told the assembly. Let's use it not just to rebuild, but to reimagine. Let's forge alliances, not just among ourselves, but with those we once called enemies. His speech was met with applause, but for Eli, the true work was just beginning. Returning to space, he oversaw the formation of a new interstellar council, one that included humans and Kryloxians alike. It was a new frontier, not of war, but of diplomacy and mutual development. Months later, Eli visited the memorial built for those who had fallen in the war. Alone, he walked among the names, each one a reminder of the cost of freedom and peace. He left a medal he had been awarded at the base of the memorial, a symbol of his own loss and remembrance. Never again, he whispered as he stood under the vast, starry sky. This peace will be our legacy. Eli's journey had started with a battle for survival, but ended with a quest for peace. As he returned to his ship, ready to explore new worlds and build new bridges, he carried with him the hopes and dreams of a world forever changed. The stars no longer seemed distant and cold, but warm with the promise of a future written not in the language of war, but in the words of peace.